Right, you're right, guys and girls. Welcome back. It is Monday, the 7th of June, 2021 at the time of the video. Now, I watched that Logan Paul versus Mayweathers this morning with Floyd Mayweathers. Great match, but obviously he's not like a professional fighter, Logan Paul. Because he's a YouTuber, he's an entertainer, he's does a lot of like podcasts and all these other stuff and all that. Now, he's had a couple fights or something, but I wouldn't say like the professional ones. With Mayweathers, I was actually not shocked in a way, but I was, to be honest, it was like a lot better than I thought on the boxing match. A lot better. Now, what I would like to see actually is Floyd Mayweather's versus Logan Paul 2. Or maybe he steps up a gear a little bit and takes Mike Tyson on. Now, that would be an interesting one. Logan Paul versus Mike Tyson, one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. And the Iron Mike Tyson, the Iron Fists of Mike Tyson. Now, that would be an interesting one. Obviously, it'd be kind of interesting to see, guys and girls, as well. But can you imagine Logan Paul taking Mike Tyson on? Just think it. A few seconds. I mean, this would be money-making, box office money-making on the match. It'd be kind of interesting. I mean, obviously, you probably need a lot of training for Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson's, I mean, he's not in his prime like he used to be, like when he was in 18, 19, in his 20s, when he was doing boxing. But he's still got the power, and he still looks great as ever. I mean, that would be an interesting match. But with Floyd Mayweather's, I think, to be honest, I thought that was actually a good match, but I kind of felt that Mayweather's didn't really try hard enough. He didn't sort of like, you could tell he wasn't all in it. He wasn't 100% into the boxing match at all. You could say could be to do with his age, but I don't think so. At the end of the day, he's probably made this money. It kind of went to the end, so it went the distance of the 8 rounds, but I kind of felt that they could have done more, or he could have done more, or Mayweather's could have, I mean, he could have finished it there and then if he wanted to be honest, but I think he probably just wanted to go to the distance, get the money and all that, and both of them, Logan Paul and Mayweather's, they get a shit ton of money out of it, guys and girls, at the end of the day. So obviously, and it's an exhibition match, it's not like it's a proper match or anything. It's just like almost like sparring in a way and all of that. But I mean, this would be quite interesting if they did Mayweather's and Logan Paul 2, but it was actually a sanctioned match, like a proper boxing match where he puts his 50 wins on the line. That would be an interesting one. Not like put his 50 wins on the line, because obviously you can't take those off him, but we're on about like if he wins, he gets hit into a proper professional one of 50-1 if he wins. I think it's because basically his wins weren't put on there, so it really didn't matter to him whether he won or not. But obviously he did really good. I mean, Mayweather's did absolutely amazing on there. Some of those jabs connected and some of those punches and that he did. But at the end of the day, it's you couldn't call it a shit show, because it wasn't a shit show. It was just entertainment. It was a bit like watching wrestling, to be honest, because Logan Paul actually, he was doing hugging a lot of the times. So he's grappling him a lot of the times in that ring and stuff, but obviously because of his wrestling career background, that kind of sort of put him in that status. But I actually came into that match, watching that match, eyes open, thinking to myself whether this would go the distance. To be honest, I actually thought it wouldn't go 2 rounds, let alone the full 8 rounds. But I would love it if they actually do 12 rounds on the next one, actually longer, and see how well Logan Paul does with 12 rounds against Mayweather's 2. Now that would be interesting to see, because I don't know if he's got it in the tank to actually go the full 12 rounds. I mean, Logan Paul, I know Floyd Mayweathers has got it in the tank to go the full whack. But it's one of those things, it's like, could he do it? Could he not? I mean, it'd be kind of interesting, but to be honest, I thought it wouldn't have gone 2 rounds. But I don't know, it's one of those matches. It was good. It was good. It was entertaining at the most part of it, but I wouldn't call it like a professional match. It's not even near like professional. But I don't know, it's one of those things. I mean, I'd love to see Mayweather's take on Conor McGregor again in another boxing match. Maybe that would be quite an interesting match. Or maybe Logan Paul, Mayweather's 2. Now that would be interesting to see, but do it as a 12 rounds and make sure it's a proper sanctioned match, not like a exhibition. Because who wants to watch an exhibition match? Or maybe Logan Paul versus Mike Tyson would be a little bit of a step up for him and all that, in that kind of way, because that would be kind of put his little career on the line, or his YouTube career on the line as well. Would be quite an interesting thing on it. But I don't know, let us guys and girls, let us know in the comments below what you guys and girls think of this, because I think it's kind of sort of interesting watching these like matches and stuff. Like I watched it this morning, and it was okay. It was entertaining at the most, but that was basically it. But I don't know. Could Logan Paul go 12 rounds? Could he do the full 12 rounds? To be honest, at the start of the first 2 rounds, I was hesitant about it, because from round 2, he looked like he was already tired, already gassed out. He was sweating a lot as well. And I don't know, he kind of pulled it out of his ass pretty much, the actual entire sweat, and just carried on fighting through, which actually all there for him and all that. It was a great match, but I wouldn't say it was a fantastic match. But it's one of those, I'd probably, out of the matches so far, since Logan Paul took on Chaos in 1 and 2 matches, I think this is probably his best match out of the 3 that he's done so far. Literally him just going straight for Mayweather's, and obviously his brother Jake and all that. I mean, he didn't do too well trying to nick his hat and try to do pranks on Mayweather's, to be honest. I mean, he got a really good shiner there off Mayweather's entirely, but it's the way it goes. But when you're pranking people. But anyway, guys and girls, cheers for watching, stay safe, and I'll see you on the next episode.